gets the carry, and he's loose! Parisi winds and scores! Puckett swings and hits a blast! Deep left center, way back! Touchable, Kirby Puckett! Lob it to Garnett, beneath the foul line, the fadeaway with a hand in space in the air for the win! Yes!
This is Sidelines on your sound and sports alternative, KVSC.
Welcome to Sidelines. It's that time of the morning, guys, where we get to sit back on the Friday morning and talk a little bit about sports. And, guys, well, before we get into the Cubs, I better introduce my panelists. We got Caleb coming back. We got Thomas. We got a new guy. We got Andrew. Good to have you. And, of course, Sauce Man is joining us again. Guys, we're going to get right into it, talking about the Cubs. Their huge party started today. Well, not started today, like Dante
Huge
said.
party started about 2 nights ago.
It started 2 minutes after the last pitch.
Okay, well, this party is continuing with their parade today. But starting off with the biggest story of the week, the Cubs break the curse. They win Game 7. 100 years later, this team finally finds a way to win. Do you guys think this game could go down as the best Game 7 in world history, in World Series history?
I mean, it was a game that broke the Cubs' streak. It's got to be up there. It was a extra inning game. You had the drama with the rain delay. It could be in the top 5, I'd say.
I mean, it's probably top 5 playoff games of all time. It has to be, especially what was on the line. It's Game 7. It is Cubs in Cleveland, and they two story programs that are the two programs that haven't won a World Series in 50-plus years, both of them.
Right. Well, we knew that coming into this game, obviously, of course. But I'm talking about that last game. I mean, who tell me you guys watched that game and was able to stay up at least till it ended? Yes?
Well, I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so.
I gotta mention this first. Did anyone notice? I loved the fans' reactions during the whole game. How they continuously kept going to the fans. Did they not look more nervous than some of these players?
Oh, they were for sure.
Yeah.
They were so. I don't think I've seen a group of fans so into a game.
I was watching His and Hers today on ESPN, and they had a guest that was speaking who was at the game, a Cubs fan, and they were saying the whole time both fans were looking at each other like, all right, who's going to screw up first?
Yeah.
Who's going to screw up first? And then Rajai Davis hits a home run off Chapman, which was no one saw coming.
That was nuts.
Exactly. And they go, and he's like, the Cleveland fans weren't even like super excited about it. They got excited for about 2 seconds, and then they're like, all right, which team's going to screw up first? Both fans were like, which team is going to screw up first? Because they know their team is just bound for failure. Both teams.
And the icing on the cake is all of a sudden there's a rain delay. I mean, what did we think was happening at that point? Did we think this was going to go until 3 in the morning?
I
that
mean,
was my first initial thought.
I was kind of worried that it would, but then they did show the radar, and you pretty much saw right away that it wasn't going to be too long. But
Right.
I would have stayed up no matter what.
Go ahead, Caleb.
No, I think there is no doubt this is one of, if not the best Game 7 in World Series history. How can it not be? I think, yes, you talk about Cleveland and Chicago, the two-story franchises, but the way that Cleveland blew a 3-1 lead, the way the Cubs come back, they just don't let up. They get the lead, you got guys like Ross hitting a home run. You got, Lester coming in, pitching, giving up runs. I mean, then the extra innings, the rain delay. I mean, the storylines in this World Series, they're second to none.
I think my dad was saying it the whole entire time I watched the game actually with him, and he kept saying, Bobbie, this is going to be a movie someday. This is such an exciting game. This might be a movie. In fact, my dad's a little bit dramatic, but I think it was maybe that good that this could be a game that might be a movie someday. But I want to talk about the MVP. Okay, I thought the whole time it was going to go to Chris Bryant. You listen to ESPN, it was obviously going to go to him. But Ben Zobrist, can we please talk about his performance? That huge hit that really got the Cubs going.
It wasn't only that hit. He played outstanding the entire series.
Yeah.
Right.
He played great. I mean, yeah, Chris Bryant did a couple things here and there, did the same. But Ben Zobrist came in clutch. Plain and simple, came in clutch. The biggest clutch, actually, for the Cubs. I don't know who else they would have really gave it to.
Well, and not only did Ben Zobrist play well in that last game, but he led the Cubs with 10 hits in the whole World Series. I mean, he had the most hits for the Cubs. Either way, he was a guy who every time he came up to bat, you knew he was a threat. And this is a guy who has so much experience. I mean, he won it last year with Kansas City. Now he wins it this year with Chicago. This is a guy that can play any position. He's got all the experience in the world, and he led the Cubs with hits in the World Series. So I think it was a great choice for Ben Zobrist.
And his reactions when he does really good, that big open mouth face, and he's just like, I don't know. It's just, and when you get that big hit when he's hitting on second, that guy is, I don't know, something else. But I think it was awesome that he won it. Then winning it last year with Kansas City, excuse me. Another person to talk about was David Ross. You know, oldest guy, 39-year-old, hits a home run. I mean, what do you guys say about this guy?
What a way for Grandpa Rossi to go out. I mean,
Exactly.
He's retiring after the series, and he hits a home run to help the Cubs win the series for the first time since '08. That's a great career ender right there.
Yeah. My favorite part about it was he had the big air to put guys on second and third, and then pass ball, the guys score, and everyone's like, oh, why did they put Ross in? Why did they keep Ross in? You know, why did they keep putting him in there? And then all of a sudden comes up to bat, hits one dead center.
Well, and did you see who he hit it against? I mean, Andrew Miller, arguably one of the guys
who's been outstanding.
Exactly. Nobody can hit him all postseason. Yeah, David Ross comes in because he's got a catch for Lester. It's like, all right, we'll see what happens. And yeah, I mean, right to straightaway center. So such a cool moment for him.
Right, and I guess the question is now is how long is this team going to be a dynamite team? I mean, for years to come, how long is this Cubs team gonna be amazing?
Years. They don't have really anyone leaving outside of Ross and maybe Fowler.
Right, and the thing is their four top players are Chris Bryant's getting paid $500,000. I mean, talk about how long this team's going to be together.
Well, I mean, Theo Epstein he builds teams. He builds them up from nothing. He did it in Boston. Now he did it in Chicago. And, I mean, to have someone like that leading the organization is crazy good for them. They're going to be good for years to come, and it's going to be it's not even going to just be their major league club. It's going to be all the way through single A. They have players all the way down the lineup that they're going to be bringing up for years to come.
It doesn't help that Joe Madden's their manager.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the amount of pressure both these teams had was unreal. I think that was the hardest. Everyone was watching. I thought it was such a cool experience. But one story I think I took away most this week, obviously there were so many stories involving the World Series, but did you guys hear about the North Carolina dad who drove to his dad's gravesite and watched the whole World Series in the graveyard on his radio? I mean, kind of a heartwarming story. Goes with the Cubs. Do you guys hear about that? Please,
Yeah.
Please tell me.
Yeah.
I mean, they had camera people there too, but I thought that was an awesome story. But I also want to move towards the NFL a little bit. So happy for the Cubs. Moving towards football, Vikings lose, guys, another person on the team, but by choice this time. Okay, huge topic of debate. NORV Turner leaves the Vikings. Where are we at with this? Why did he choose to do this? Do you think, Thomas?
I think that he left, like you said, he felt that the team needed a change of direction, and he thought that he was at change, and he was looking toward the better of the team. And personally, I mean, if we want to get into whether or not it was good for the team or not, I think it was. His play calling has been. He's always been a great teacher of offense. He's always been good with quarterbacks, always been good with receivers and routes. But his issue is his play calling. When they're under center, they run 75% of the time. When they're in the shotgun, they pass 75% of the time. Opposing defenses literally have a 75% chance to guess the right play that the Vikings are going to run.
No, I disagree with Zimmer. Or I disagree with Norv's explanation. I think that him and Zimmer were not clicking on all cylinders, and I think it was going to be, hey, you got to go. I don't think a guy like this just steps down. I think that there was obvious stuff going on. I don't think it was best for the team. Yeah, you obviously want to say that, but no, I think that this was a team that ranks 31st in offense maybe in this league. They have a lot of injuries for sure, but this team has high expectations, and he hasn't been getting it done. I mean, they played Chicago last week. I mean, I watch the Bears a lot. They don't have a good defense. The points they put up in that game, I think there was a riff with Zimmer, and I think it had to be a change. And I think Shermer's going to come in, a guy who has worked with Bradford previously in Philly. And I like this. I don't think there's anything wrong with Shermer taking over.
Right, I would have to agree with Cable. I think that they had different coaching personalities. I think Zimmer was kind of like, let's get it done, more of a hard-hitting guy, as Turner was more of a, pat on the back kind of guy. I think that they didn't click on all cylinders like you said, Caleb. But, yeah, I want to talk about Pat Shermer. He's taking over the job. You said it. Just what I was going to say is he coached Sam Bradford. One of his philosophies for coaching is getting the ball out quickly and that 3 step back for quarterbacks. And I think that's really going to help, obviously, because right now the offensive line is really not helping Sam Bradford out.
Yeah, according to Pro Football Focus, the Vikings' 3rd and 4th best pass blockers are 2 tight ends, Ellison and Rudolph. That's terrible when literally 2 tight ends are better than 3 of your offensive linemen that you start. The quick hitters is what this offense needs to go to, because otherwise Bradford's going to get hit and he's going to get sacked because he has no time on a 5 or 7 step drop.
Right.
They got to do something to change. Their offense has been horrendous since they came off the bye week. New coach up top, sure. We'll see what happens.
Right. And
we just need to give the defense some help. The Vikings just need to give their defense some help because their defense is outstanding, but they're not doing anything for them.
Right. You got to get points on the board to win the game.
Yeah.
And if you look at it last week on the stats, Vikings offense ranks almost last in every single statistic. So that's saying something. Maybe this switch will help them out. I don't know. But let's talk about them losing to the Bears. You said you watched it. I watched it. Guys lost their second straight game. They were number 1 in ESPN rankings. Now they're right in the middle of the pack. Where is this team going?
Right now they're going down. It's not good. I mean, you lose to the Bears, and once again, it was the offense's fault. Defense was on the field way too much, and they still will be until they can figure something out on offense.
So you have no hope that these Vikings are going to bounce back come this weekend against the Lions?
Not until they show that their line can block.
Well, I think for the Vikings to fix this, they got to switch a few things around. First of all, the offense line, yes, has struggled, but you have to try to establish a run game. This is a one-dimensional offense with no rushing attack at all. You look last week against Chicago. It was like 2 yards a carry for Asiata, and they really need McKinnon to come back, and it's going to be a big boost for them if he can make it back. And the defense, Jay Cutler beat that Vikings defense with quick throws, with rollouts, and, I think Philly kind of provided the blueprint for them the other week when they lost, and Chicago exploited that. Now, Chicago gives them a tough time at Soldier Field in Chicago. They're back home this week. I actually do think they get back on track against Detroit. They're too talented of a team. They really are. So, especially with that defense on up front. But they got to fix some things, definitely the offensive line, but I think they got to try to establish a running game because Sam Bradford, when he wins these games, it's from not doing too much.
Another big problem is Sam Bradford can't scramble. He cannot get out of the pocket.
Well, how many ACL, injuries does he have? He's not a...
Too many because his line's always been bad. So I think the Vikings, it's not like they have Teddy back there who can run a little bit. Not great, but he can run. He can get out. He can roll. He can roll to his left, his right, anything. Sam Bradford can go about 2 feet to his right, 2 feet to his left, and sling it down the field to Diggs. That's about all he can do. So I think that's the big problem we have here with the Vikings is Sam Bradford's not moving out of that pocket.
Well, one other thing with Diggs, just talking about receivers, are we going to see Treadwell at all this year?
I don't know why we wasted a pick on him if we're not going to use him.
I mean,
and in Vikings training camp, I got the opportunity to go down there and work a little bit down there, and he was the story of the camp. He was doing so well. I mean, in press conference, and Zimmer was nonstop talking about how well he was going to do, and season starts, he's non-existent.
So if you look at the NORV Turner's track record, he doesn't start rookies unless he absolutely has to. If you look at Trey Wayne's last year, he didn't play at all. At all. Like, he was way down on the depth chart. This year, he's starting. A little bit by necessity, but he's playing good this year. So it's not like he didn't have the talent. So I think we're not going to see Treadwell unless Diggs goes down and Adam Thielen goes down. It's going to have to go down the lineup a little bit for us to see Treadwell on a daily basis on more than 5 plays a game where he's not just learning the offense.
Well,
yeah.
Right, and guys, I'm going to cut you short here because I know we can still talk about the Vikings, but we spend so much time on the Vikings. I want to move on to some more topics that have gone on this week. But obviously, Vikings, they've lost a lot of offensive players. Let's hope they bounce back. I'm hoping they bounce back against the Detroit Lions. But another game to look forward to for this weekend is Broncos versus Raiders. I know, Thomas, you were talking to me earlier today about it. What's your thoughts? They're, tied for first in the AFC West?
Yeah, it's a really important game, especially for playoff picture. You have Derek Carr, who's been playing out of his mind against the Broncos defense. I'm really excited to see what that Raiders offense can do against the Broncos D.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what the Raiders can do. I mean, the Raiders have had an outstanding year.
Yeah.
For the Raiders, you always think of the Oakland Raiders as, they're not even in the conversation. They're not really doing a whole lot. One of my best friends is a Raiders fan. He's always like, I think the Raiders might have lost again this week. And, it's been like, it's like being a Vikings fan the past 10 years. It's like the same thing.
Hey.
But they've been great this year. Derek Carr's leading them to great things. The coach.
Jack Del Rio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable job he's been doing there. I don't think they can beat the Broncos at this point, but they're definitely in the conversation.
Well, the matchup's going to be, if they beat the Broncos, it's going to be because Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree exploit guys like, Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. That's the matchup to watch in this game. Those corners versus those two receivers, those are the playmakers. Those are explosive guys for Oakland. Can they get it done?
Crabtree's been great for him this year.
I think
Oh, yeah.
I think it will come back down to that secondary versus receiver play because the Raiders line has been really, really good this year.
Yeah.
And I think they might take the Broncos pass rush out of it.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
We will see where that game takes us, guys. I want to talk about college football. Okay, Tuesday first rankings came out.
Ridiculous.
Okay, let's go over those teams, though, so everyone knows who they've chose for that. They got Alabama, of course, Clemson, Michigan, and then the big one was Texas A&M jumps over undefeated Washington. My question right here is, did Washington get gypped? Undefeated team.
Why don't the college football playoff guys just hand the SEC another championship?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I feel like that's how it always is. LSU could have 5 losses, but they'd still be in the conversation for top 5.
Do they think Johnny Manziel is going to come back in the
Exactly.
playoff and play for A&M?
Right, so what do you guys think their factor of choosing this was? What?
They're in
why?
the SEC.
That's why.
Plain and simple.
Money.
That's why.
Yes.
Money with broadcasts.
All right.
More people are going to watch.
That's
the
what
There's
we're
no
going.
reason they should be. Washington's undefeated.
Right.
They're plain and simple undefeated. I don't care if they're in the Pac-12. They're undefeated.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you look at who's below them, Ohio State. Ohio State has 1 loss. They're a great team. What's wrong with the Big Ten? I mean, Wisconsin beat LSU for crying out loud, and LSU's playing Alabama this week. And then you look at who else is Lamar Jackson and Louisville. They're playing outstanding.
Right.
They almost should have beat Clemson, who's number 2.
Yeah, and I know this was a big debate, but obviously this was just the first one. They have 6 total. We have a couple more to go. So, I mean, Washington can't get down yet. There's still a lot of opinions out there to happen for the weeks to come. But I want to talk about the games to look forward to this coming weekend. We got Nebraska. They just lost to Wisconsin. They're playing, though, Ohio State. What do we see in this matchup?
Nebraska has to come out strong and get to the fourth quarter close with Ohio State because Tommy Armstrong has been terrible all the way up until the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, his quarterback rating rises 22 points. If Armstrong can manage the game well enough to get to a close fourth quarter against Ohio State, I'd say Nebraska has a chance because Armstrong is really, really clutch when it comes down to the fourth.
It'll be close. It'll be a struggle for Ohio State, I think, to beat Nebraska, but I don't see Ohio State losing to Nebraska, especially at home.
Well, I think the problem with Ohio State, though, what they have to figure out, they not only lost to Penn State a couple weeks ago, they went down to the wire against a team like Northwestern. This is back-to-back weeks where Ohio State has struggled, and especially J.T. Barrett, that quarterback. That offense has to get back on track if they're going to have a chance of beating the Nebraska team that's played really tough all year. It's going to be a really good game.
And that vertical passing game that Ohio State likes to use is gone over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
J.T. Barrett isn't doing anything down the field.
Yeah, they got to figure out offensively.
And, it's never easy to go back-to-back for road games. They say that if they win, Nebraska wins, they have a 56% chance to get back into this thing. Right now, they're kind
Get back in the playoff?
Well,
They're in the Big Ten. They won't be in the playoff.
well, 56%, this is what it says. You ready for this? To beat Ohio State, they'll rise to 56% for the West Division.
Oh, okay.
So-
yeah.
So I'm riding hopes for Nebraska. Obviously, they're in the Big Ten. But I want to look forward to Alabama versus LSU. Okay, you mentioned it, OC. You're really shaking your head.
It's so overhyped.
Yes.
This
Overhyped.
game is going to be so
Yes.
bad. It's going to be like every other Alabama game that's overhyped. USC, wow, that was a great game.
Yeah.
Really glad I
I
wasted my
disagree.
3 hours on that one.
So you really think that Alabama's going to come in there and just shake them?
LSU?
Yeah.
They just fired their coach. Of course they are.
All right, so
LSU doesn't stand a chance against Alabama.
I think LSU's played actually really well under the interim
was
coach.
gonna
And I
say
was
the
going to say,
same
Leonard
thing.
Fournette had a great week last week. He's looking back in form. I think this is going to be a competitive game. He is still arguably the best player in the country, Fournette is. And that's a guy that they have to stop. And I mean, yeah, LSU, they're going to get, some hype and stuff because it's LSU. But they've played really strong the last couple weeks. And, Alabama, I think the big thing, Leonard Fournette, he is arguably the best player in college football. They're going to have to, that's the guy they got to
Still?
account for.
Well,
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Alabama can just go single coverage on all of the receivers because their cornerbacks are so good, and they'll just load the box against Fournette. He won't have any room to run.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and guys, down south they have the biggest football atmosphere. I think with different atmospheres brings different energy levels. I think that LSU could make Alabama run for their money. I mean, they always come in so high. Everyone's thinking they're going to win. It's about time someone breaks them. I mean, I'm calling it.
It is about time someone breaks them. I just don't think LSU
You
can
don't
do
think
it.
it's going to be LSU?
They might make Alabama run for the showers because the game's over so quick.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll see how that one wraps up. But Minnesota hockey, guys, huge weekend for Minnesota hockey. We got 2 huge college football or college different sport college hockey games tonight. We got Minnesota's playing UND, and then here in St. Cloud, we got St. Cloud State playing UMD. We'll get to that more later on about times and stuff, but huge weekend for Minnesota hockey. But I want to talk about the Minnesota Wild. Right now they're 6-3. how have you guys seen this team, play in the last couple weeks? Well, play till the last time we talked, so last Friday.
Montreal's still undefeated. I mean, they've had a great year so far.
Hold on, we're not going to Montreal yet. I want to talk about the Wild first. Where are we seeing this team with this new coach?
They're all right.
I think they're playing well.
They're
I think
doing fine.
The biggest factor, I think, though, has been Devin Dubnyk. He's had he had 3 shutouts in a row during those games. I think that's been a huge asset for them because goaltending's always been an issue for the Wild. So if he can stable that goaltending, and this was a team that just a couple weeks ago had the most guys has scored a goal for them, different players.
Right.
I mean, a lot of guys are producing. They got to stay healthy. I think Stahl's had a good year, and their coach Bordeaux is known to have he's a good regular season guy. So, I think they're playing well. It's early, but I think the key, if Dubnyk is playing well, that's going to do wonders for this team.
That's going to help them out
So
for sure.
Dubnyk is streaky. He'll have good streaks. He had an outstanding streak already, and I don't think that bodes necessarily well for them in the long term because he blew three of his shutouts in the beginning of the year, and I don't think he's a Vezina winning candidate goaltender. I think he's a above average goaltender. I don't think he's Carey Price level, not by any means, but he can play well in streaks, and then have a couple bad streaks where Kemper will come in and help him get through those, and they'll be fine. But like they said, like Sauce said, Boudreau's a regular season coach, so I want to see them get to the playoffs in a decent spot, and then we can talk about, is Dubnyk going to step up and get hot in the playoffs?
Now, Andrew, you're new to the show, so I guess I didn't even ask you. Are you a big hockey fan? Is that your favorite sport?
I love hockey.
Well, thank God you're sitting next to Sauceman. He's a big hockey fan, too. That's why I always pick on him on the show. Sauceman, we can get to your topic now about Montreal Canadiens undefeated. Take it away.
They're playing outstanding. They're playing team hockey. Like you said, they have the best goalie in the league in Carey Price. They're just all around. They're playing as a team. They don't have any big superstars. They got Shea Weber, which
MVP.
I'm surprised that he's playing so well. I hated that PK.
He's playing great.
Well, I mean that trade was good for both sides right now. Now I don't know if that trade. I don't think that trade will be good in 5 years when Shea Weber can't play hockey anymore and PK Subban's still putting up 30 to 50 points a year. But right now, that leadership on that team is what they needed. Shea Weber brings in that macho man defensive player who will block shots, get down on the ice, and take a giant clap bomb from the blue line and score some goals for you. So,
I mean, yeah, and he's leading the league with 14 in the plus and minus.
He is.
But and the big question too, or the big thing for Montreal is look at their goals against average, first in the league. Anytime you're giving up that, you only got to put a couple in and you're gonna get wins. So if Price plays like that, I mean,
and the back
is gonna be a tough team to beat.
The backup has played outstanding too for Montreal.
Yeah.
Al Montoya.
All right, what about these Oilers? They are leading the Western Conference as of now. Where do we see this team?
Outstanding. I mean, they have
jumped out of your seat there.
Exactly. They got a 19-year-old running the show. I mean, nothing can go wrong for the Oilers.
Well, yeah, McDavid is.
Nothing can go wrong. Okay.
Nothing can go wrong.
Are we agreeing with that?
McDavid broke something last year, so that could happen again. But, I think it bodes well for them that their top line has McDavid on it, and it's not just McDavid anymore. He's got some help all the way down the lineup. They traded Yapakov, and I think that was a great trade because I didn't like him anyways. But they did build up their defense, which has helped, and Talbot is playing out of his mind. So that goalie back there, like same thing as Dubnyk. When you have a hot goalie, your team's gonna play well.
All right, of course. And now my question is we got Matthews or McDavid. Who impresses you more? I gotta ask you because you're new to the show and you know this.
Well, so far it's gotta be McDavid. I mean, he's leading the league in points right now. You can't. I mean, he's so talented, and I mean Matthews is good. It's really hard, but. I think it's McDavid, but I think in a couple years we'll know the answer because I'm not.
Are we all agreeing with that, or?
Oh yeah, I think the thing with Matthews, I think it's impressive because I don't think he had his high expectations right now. He's number one overall pick, but McDavid was a guy being compared to Wayne Gretzky, and now he's putting these numbers. Matthews, Matthews is a really good player, and he's playing really well so far. I want to see a lot more of him. McDavid, yeah. I mean, this is an Edmonton team that's struggled for how long?
Right.
Long time.
Right.
Long time.
Yeah.
Since Gretzky.
All right, guys, and. For being big hockey fans, obviously there's a huge game happening today with St. Cloud State and UMD. UMD is coming in at number 1. We're at number 8. What do you guys see with the college hockey atmosphere?
It's the college hockey atmosphere is awesome.
Where are we seeing
Wonderful.
the two games, the biggest games? We got Minnesota playing UND, who just lost to Duluth last weekend, and then we have obviously St. Cloud State and Duluth tonight here.
UND can take care of Minnesota. Minnesota's not where they used to be, obviously, and UND's coming off a huge national championship. I don't care how many they've lost or how they're going to be good. UND's always good. As for what's going on, a couple blocks down the street tonight.
Let's watch what we say here.
I know.
I think
we just have to split this weekend.
Well, yeah, and I think
for
the
sure. We
biggest-
have to get one.
The biggest question mark, I think, going into tonight, who starts at goalie? Is it Driscoll or is it Smith? It's
Yeah.
been back, forth. They haven't rolled with anyone yet.
Right.
And it's a huge series, so maybe you get to see who's it going to be.
I think it's a huge. They're coming in with a lot of momentum, obviously Duluth, but we're coming in, or St. Cloud State, is coming in with four straight wins. One against sweeping the Gophers a couple weekends ago, then beating Alabama. We're back at home. I think it lines up for a great series, and we'll talk about the results next week, Friday.
It's gonna be a full house tonight.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. But before we go, I want to talk really quick about the NBA. I'm not sure who's huge into basketball here. I'm a big basketball fan. Timberwolves, okay? Not really having a hot streak to start the season. They lost last night to a buzzer beater. Where are we seeing this Timberwolves team?
Give them some time. They got the best
Okay.
young guys
they're young.
in the nation. They got literally the best young guys in the nation. They got Cat, Wiggins, Levine. They're
Tyus Jones.
Speaking as a
Tyus Jones.
speaking as a diehard
Come
Thunder
on.
fan myself, what the Timberwolves are doing, it reminds me so much of what the Thunder did in their early years. They just stockpiled as much young talent as they could and hoped it played out, and that's exactly what the Timberwolves are doing right now.
That's a really good way to put it. And the thing about the Timberwolves, they kind of remind me. Don't quote me on this, but the Cubs atmosphere, how they're always a bunch of young guys and they have a lot of excitement. I kind of see that with the Timberwolves team. There's a bunch of young guys. They look like they're having a lot of fun, even when they lose by a buzzer beater. Obviously not.
I think the Cubs got more fans.
Yeah,
honest.
well, they got to get some more wins.
Playing basketball in the state of hockey isn't really ideal. But
It's hard for them, I know. But the big story, obviously, for the NBA is Durant and Westbrook. Did we see that non-handshake last night?
at the beginning of the game,
Yeah.
no, Westbrook never shakes hands at the beginning of the game.
No, he never
That's
does.
nothing new.
But you would think you would shake your friend's hand that was on the team with
Friends?
you.
They're
No,
not
friends.
friends.
No.
They're not friends.
No,
no.
Here, hey, this
No.
is a media stunt. I think
Yeah.
they
Really?
are. They're they've played on the same team for how long? They've been bros for how long? They're still bros.
Are they?
Under the radar, texting. No one knows what they say to each other.
I mean, you listen to the Herd podcast. I love listening to that as well. But, they say that on the court, they're not friends because Durant always thought Westbrook shot the ball too much. But off the court, they were. Playing basketball, I can you can see where, you get past the dang ball,
yeah.
But obviously it showed last night. How many points did Durant?
39.
39, 7 threes.
Oh, yeah.
It was ugly. It was really, really ugly last night. I mean, Durant, you knew what he wanted to do. He just wanted to pour it on the Thunder, and that's exactly what he did. I don't know why he feels any discontent towards the Thunder. I mean, they did begin the trash talking, but it was a tough game to watch for me, especially the fact that Durant, he was en fuego. He was 14 of 20 on contested shots, 5 of 7 on contested threes. He was just insane.
I mean, that's what Kevin Durant does. He does Kevin Durant things. He poured it on them. He teared it up. I think the only motive he had was just show them he made the right choice
Right.
in moving. But on the other hand, I don't really think he had a whole lot against the Thunder, other than this is my old team. I just want to show these guys that I made the right decision, and I'm just gonna go to the Bay Area and tear it up, and that's what he did. That's exactly what he did, and. As of him and Westbrook, of course in the media they're going to say a couple things like, I'm going to tweet about this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But come on, these guys played together forever, and they're not going to not stay bros just because one left the team when really, in all reality, the Thunder weren't going to win the title in the next 3 years
So
anyway.
you're not buying the media.
No, I'm not buying the media
You're
talk.
not- all right, how about you guys?
I mean, from the Thunder beat writers, it sounds like Durant and Westbrook don't talk at all anymore.
Right.
He sent him one text during that entire free agency thing, Durant to Westbrook, and I feel like the relationship has crumbled over the past 5 months.
Well, and with it being so, early in the season, we'll see where this ends up. They're obviously going to see each other again. But, before we get going, I want to let our audience know who's watching at home that there is, like I said, we talked about earlier with college hockey, but there is a lot happening around St. Cloud State. Like I said, huge college hockey weekend for Minnesota. We got UMD coming in at #1 in the nation, playing St. Cloud State that is now, number 8. in the nation. They will start tonight at 7:37, and then tomorrow night at 7:07. Games will be broadcasted on Fox Sports North. And, of course, 88.1 on KVSC. Women's volleyball, they are on tonight. They play Mankato State. And then tomorrow, again, they play Concordia St. Paul. And then the women's basketball season, they will open up play tomorrow night for their first Expedition game. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back next Friday for some little bit more about some sports talk.